entities that traders might have used back in the day or something like that. But it was used by Gaddafi to avoid sanctions, or well, uh, it was used by Gaddafi's tax lawyers to evade sanctions. It seems like super sketchy, basically, is what I'm saying. Like the more I look at it, the more I'm like, this is
Yeah, it was going for quite a while.
Hello and welcome to Game of Nodes, the weekly podcast on the Cosmos from independent validator teams. And I really did not realize I'd been rugged on that one. We were just talking about bizarre Dutch incorporation strategies that, as it turns out, are used for massive evasion of potentially weird criminal stuff. So anyway, fun times. We're laughing and we're learning. We're laughing and we're learning.
What we're not doing is watching the live broadcast button.
Yeah, what we were not doing was actually paying attention to what I assume Noel was doing over in the background there. So excellent. So let's just kick off. Top of the show. We have a big old Tombstone of the Week. No way! Over on, we've got the air horns as well. Air horns, well, of course, on Chihuahua, right?
Yes.
So obviously, RIP for the validator affected. Thoughts and prayers.
which I believe will be getting resurrected, similar to the what was it, Secret one, after the bungled upgrade on Secret. They resurrected a tombstoning. I think they're going to do the same thing on
what, by rolling back state, or
no? I think
just resurrecting it,
just helping.
Okay, just helping, not
just
actually.
helping. Yeah, I think there was some talk.
No. They brought in Secret. They brought it back from the dead.
How'd they do that?
I have no idea. But they did an upgrade. I think they did it as part of an upgrade.
Oh yeah, you can manipulate the chain state. I mean, this is a fun of proof of stake. Don't tell the
immutable things in this immutable blockchain.
Yeah, don't tell the regulators, but you can do whatever the fuck
you want. Yeah, exactly.
It's immutable until there's an upgrade handler.
Exactly.
And then the validators don't check the code, and then the SDK is too complicated for most people to understand it.
So and then all of a sudden, the phrase making $10,000 a week.
Exactly. All of a sudden, we are making big bucks, fellas, and nobody's quite sure how. But the answer was all in the upgrade handler. It always was.
That's how it happens.
It was you, Fredo.
That's how they fuck you.
So the secret is, if you're going to check anything in an upgrade, check the handler.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, so it was on Chihuahua. It was Agora nodes. I don't even know if it was. I mean, it was obviously it was their fault, but I think there were some bad directions in there, and it was kind of a fuck chain state, and there was a lot of testing going on and different types of strategies to figure out what was going on, and then.
So, am I right in thinking that there was also like a tag that was released, and then the same tag was reused? Because that also seems like a recipe.
Yeah, there was a reused tag.
I think so. Which, yeah, I think that's correct. I think there was an additional commit on the same tag, right?
There was several instructions to download like snapshots as well.
Mm-hmm.
And like, man, I don't even know how they got to a block on one of them. I was always at the head, and I wasn't at the block that we ended up restarting on, so I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, so then they doubled, and then today it actually halted again for about 30%. We were in that group and a few others. So around, I don't know when it was, 10 a.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock UTC or something. So it like 30% of the validators just all hashed at the same time. And
smart contract execution?
Yeah, that's what I was assuming. I was assuming it was a WASM difference or something else, but it seemed like I pulled after the chain was moving, I pulled a snapshot from somebody who did not have their node stop, which is weird. in the second halt, and then I pulled that snapshot on my nodes, and that they all hashed out, and a bunch of others did as well. And so I just grabbed another snapshot from somebody who did not have that second app hash, and then here we are. So I don't know what's going on. I'm not sure. It seemed like
Sounds scary.
It does seem scary because actually what somebody was looking at was the fact that we're looking at what WASM contracts. I guess it's just like some sort of hash number. It's in the file directory that's in there, right? And we were just looking at, we were just doing like a diff on those things, and the one that was on my node that hashed was definitely missing WASM files. There's no doubt about it. And those WASM files were from today. So that doesn't make any sense. That makes me think like this is going to happen again for some reason. And I don't know. And it's permission, so that doesn't really make any sense at all, honestly, right? So I don't know.
Yeah. So you've got
Chihuahua's not permissioned WASM.
It's not.
permissionless.
No, it's
Oh, it is.
permissionless.
Oh, okay. Then maybe that makes a little bit more sense. That maybe there's an issue with the node not downloading that WASM or something.
Could be a WASM cache problem.
What is a WASM cache?
Well, so when you go up different versions of WASMer, there are caches from previous versions that are made, and there's basically a strategy in COS and WASM to clear that out. So you don't end up running an incompatible version of WASM code, essentially.
Okay.
So we've had app hash problems with this on Uni a number of times, principally because the way that COS and WASM knows that thing has changed is basically dependent on the upstream people not doing weird things to mean that check won't happen.
Yeah.
And it has changed in the past, which is how it sort of slipped through the net. Which is why when you see that particular kind of because there's basically like different kinds, there are different severities of app hash, aren't there? There's everybody app hashes, 125 forks happen. And you're like, okay.
And the node dies, right? That's when you have like the whole process shits the bed and like
done. At that point you're like pure non-determinism.
Yeah.
Right? You know, it's bad, but it's at least very obvious why it's bad, and then what steps you kind of need to be taken from there.
Yeah.
The weird ones are when like what sounds like you're describing, over 67% of consensus keep moving, but let's say 10-20% of consensus app hash. That's when you know, if it was 1% of consensus, you'd be like YOLO,
right?
Because it could be somebody on a 10 years old Intel architecture or something like that, and yeah, we do know, or anecdotally suspect, that there are serious problems with certain older architectures and WASMer and stuff like that. There's some gremlin in the system that seems to cause potential non-determinacy in certain situations. But yeah, when it's like 20%, suddenly we're into that's quite scary lad territory, which sounds like this maybe is.
Yeah, like my node was still it's doing that thing where like it hashes, but it still dials, right? The whole process is still running, and it's just kind of has a consensus failure, and so it just falls out of consensus. So and plus, it seemed like there were some similarities in terms of what nodes died from when snapshots and this and that, and the WASM folder structure. So it kind of pointed back to
similarities in architecture, or just similarities in setup and running.
Similarities in overall file size. So meaning we're just doing like DUs on the WASM folder just to take a look and say, are these even close, like where they are? The other thing that was weird about that is the snapshot I got was from a node that was continuing to run. So that part was weird. Unless that snapshot was taken and for some reason there was contracts executed between the snapshot take and when I applied it, which is possible actually, because they probably took it right after it's possible, maybe.
Yeah,
that might be the case. So
because they might have just taken it, they might have just used Cosmovisor and left it to do the backup on their backup node or something like that. That might be where they got the snapshot from.
Yeah, but wouldn't. Yeah, but then the node would sync those, right? Like if it has a snapshot from 2 days ago, like it's any snapshot, right?
Yeah, it would just fast sync those blocks.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe I don't know what happened with there. So anyway, So back to Agora nodes. That happened, and I think that I just heard like the foundation or just folks that are in there just said, "Hey, we want to, this was a fucked up situation. We want to take care of you," and blah blah blah. Which means I think they'll probably try to find ways to give back the 10% that was slashed and try to get Agora back in the set and all that kind of stuff. Which I think
10%,
or it's probably 5% in Chihuahua. You're right.
Yeah, it's probably 5% because they're basically just like a straight up copy paste to Juno, aren't they? So if they didn't change any config, it would have been 5%.
I can check.
I think
It's 5%. Yeah, it's 5% for double sign. Yep.
Yeah.
So
Jesus.
yeah, is that all right?
Jesus.
5%.
Oh no, I was just looking at my bloody. So I just actually looked at the Chihuahua validator set and noticed that Pikachu had packed on 1 billion of of delegation in like the last day. I was like, what the fuck is going on there?
A billion.
Billion.
These numbers are so abstract. What's that? $1 of delegations?
I don't know. I haven't looked at. I took Chihuahua off my price board because it was making me sick.
So someone delegated 1 billion.
Is that right?
Where the fuck did this come from?
I don't see that in the delegator list there.
$800,000. But it's from
quite a bit of dollars.
Wait, what is $800,000?
1 billion.
Get the fuck out of here! It is.
Oh, sorry, no, 8 billion.
Sorry, $800. My bad.
No. Well, this account's got 8 billion in it.
Oh,
Right.
okay. All right.
That is quite a lot, isn't it?
I
Well, I
think
think
TVL. What's the
it
TVL
must
on
be-
Chihuahua anyway?
So this must be one of the. What the fuck? Well, this is the developer fund. Yeah, this is the dev fund.
All those Pikachu snaps.
You got to pay for the snaps.
You got to pay for those snaps.
Got to grease the palm.
That is that is the biggest.
We had a big delegation away from us in the last week on Juno, and I was like, motherfucker, all right, Warpath, and then I saw it was to Pikachu, and I was like, oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, this is pretty confusing.
Anyway, so it's all fine. I'm not even angry.
Like, this is a backflip on their delegation policy because they said so they had said that they won't delegate to anyone in the top 100, right? So they daily delegate everybody 100,000, maybe twice a day. Yeah. And then they said they wouldn't delegate the top 10, but now they just put on 1 billion of delegation to Pikachu and 1 billion of delegation to Stake Lab. So that's kind of confusing.
Yeah, but I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that a team had just completely ignored their own delegation handbook.
That 1 billion Chihuahua, I think if I'm doing the math right, is $102,000.
I think about to say $102.
102,000. It's 0.00010246. So I think that's correct.
Well, it's still definitely worth more than I think it is then.
Yeah, like I mean, there's enough zero. I mean, there's 3 zeros here, but
What has the bigger market cap, Huahua or I don't know, like a recent chain like Territory or something?
I don't know. I think there's a price on Territory, is there? I guess there must be.
I mean, I assume it's on Osmosis, but I base that on
it must be
absolutely nothing. It must be on Frontier. You'd have thought because it's permissionless and whatnot.
Yeah. Yep. I can check real quick. I should know this.
We've even got Rama in the chat. He's like, Rama, do our maths for us. I feel like Rama would also have opinions on some of this, but yeah. So what the fuck were we talking about before that? Something. Oh, double
Tombstone. Yeah, double signing.
Tombstone.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the Tombstone of the week. It's exciting. That was honestly some of this stuff. Chains are pretty loose about it now, and I think that when things get halted, and we were talking about this before in channel. There's 2 different approaches when chains halt. One is let's just try quick fixes to move past this because we don't want to acknowledge what a how big this problem is. So let's just we just got to change this one thing. Everybody, all 150 of you change this one thing, and we'll be fine. And then that creates issues and blah blah blah. And then eventually, other teams take it to say if something happens and they stop, they take a day or two. They go chest it and test net, and they come back with a plan and blah blah blah. So Huawei was, I think, floundering a little bit because I think they were trying to find an easy fix, and sometimes there's not easy fixes, especially when it's such a so distributed.
Yeah. So the other one that we saw a bit of a spicy time with was Jackal, right? They made blocks for about an hour and then hit the buffers. But then their problem wasn't there was no app hash, was there? It was just that they realized their Genesis file was no bueno. Apologies for my tired English person not even trying to pronounce Spanish. I guess I'm cancelled now. I'm really sorry to the Spanish speaking community. I'm just very tired. We're having a wall knockdown, and then there's no hot water, and there's brick dust everywhere, and it tasted. Even where I'm sitting right now, it tasted bricks. So
everything tastes of bricks.
Edwardian bricks, amazing, delicious. Probably lead paint has worked its way in there. Certainly coal dust, obviously. That's a fun thing. It kind of gets between the cavities. So not feeling my best here, but yeah, there was some problem with the Genesis file, wasn't it? And that was the root of the problem. They were like, okay, we're just gonna stop now. Don't worry, everybody. We'll be back up shortly. And I think Polkachu, I don't know. Does Polka validate?
I think so. He's in the Discord. I'm not in that Discord.
Yeah, so. Yeah. I think Polka actually was the one that had swung into them and was like, lads, if you just try and restart your mainnet, one of your validators is still going to be running, and everybody's going to double sign.
Everybody's going to, yeah. Well, I went in there, but the rumor was that there was an incorrect Genesis distribution to some members of the foundation or the team or something similar to that. Is that what it was?
I don't know what the cause was. I just saw that there had been. I just saw a note that said that there was a bug in vesting.
Oh yeah, we've hit a snag with some vesting schedules and need to relaunch with a slightly modified Genesis, which.
Oh, was this Jackal?
Yeah. So it's latest one. We'll just back it up. We're live. This is real dollars, but
I mean, that kind of feels like a testnet thing. Like you should run in testnet and just speed up the blocks.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
see how your vesting works. I mean,
I think our question was that because we had this issue, was it Juno or Evmos, where they were talking about regenesing, but we were worried about IBC transactions and flight or something similar to that, right? And so we were questioning if this.
No,
if this
I think that was Evmos that they were talking about regenesing because of that halt that lasted 3 months.
They were just going to back up, right? They were going to back up and just dump a bunch of transactions. Everybody had questions about IBC transactions and all that stuff.
Wait, how long was Evmos down when that happened?
I don't know, a long time.
It was a few weeks, right? 2 or 3 weeks.
No, it's more than weeks.
Was it?
It was over a month.
Yeah, it was.
I'm sure
of it.
A
while. Yeah,
I'm sure it was a
long time.
Yeah, it was a while. I remember that because there was a lot of talk about. Because there was a bunch of testnet relaunches in there, and they were the whole thing.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't weeks. Because everyone was sort of like, are you going to relaunch?
Rummer says 3 months on that. That could.
I thought it was 3 months.
Yeah, we've got conclusive partial match, definitely months. Rama 3 months. The viewers have spoken.
Why is Rama put in here? Good morning, dodgy double-digit double signers. Was there some mass double signing somewhere? Or is that what you're talking about with the Jackal?
No, I think we were maybe the Chihuahua thing.
I mean, I think it's just trying to make it even more alliterations on the where the episode today. The name of today's episode is
dodgy double sign drama. Yeah. Doggy, right. He's going dodgy. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Today on Game of Nodes, we explain the show title.
Today on Game of Nodes, we explain to a tired man in his evening explains to a tired man in his morning
exactly
what the show name is and why it's called that. Actually, to be fair, pronouncing it is quite saying it quickly is quite hard. Doggy double sign drama.
You gotta say it 5 times fast.
Dodgy double digit double. To
Not sure I could do it more than once.
Yeah. So I guess
yeah.
they wanted to So did that happen? I don't even know if they restarted with the new Genesis or not.
Jackal.
Is Jackal back
It was like starting around now or half an hour ago or something
with a new gen?
with a new gen. Yeah, they read gen text and stuff. So
And no, I guess there wasn't too many or no IBC channels up yet, and there wasn't many transactions, so they said fuck it and redid it.
did they actually start the network the first time? Did they?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it was working because I remember seeing some tweets
So,
about it
yeah.
and everything else.
What I heard from Polka was there were no IBC channels up, so they didn't have to worry about the huge fucking massive pain that is when you have to deal with those. So they were just like they in the end, I think, changed the network, the chain name.
Yeah.
So like fully forked and just started from scratch.
It works. Here we are. the immutable blockchain. Fuck it.
Do they? So does Jackal have like a lot of how can they have that many vesting accounts? Like, have they got whales already?
Don't all new chains have whales?
If they're vesting accounts, it must be Team, really. I mean, that's like the only time you ever get vesting accounts, really, in Cosmos. I don't know that they're used much by anybody else that's not a team basically locking up a shitload of tokens for themselves.
Right. I think that's like secret code, right? These poor vesting accounts. Ours.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen anybody make a vesting account for themselves, because the way almost every single tax regime in the world works is that if you have the funds and then you lock them in a vesting account, all that you've done is just fucked yourself. That's literally all you've done. And what is the point? Because what can you can't earn any more on vesting than you could from staking. So you may as well leave them liquid and stake them. Like a vesting account has, somebody correct me, has absolutely no function other than to make it so that if your tax authority says immediately liquidate your funds to pay us a large tax bill, you have to instead go, oh no, I will instead elect for bankruptcy, and then you can put me in prison for not handing over these funds that are locked in a staking, locked in a vesting contract, because I have an absolute giga brain. I mean, the reality is, like, they're not going to put you in prison for like the stupid vesting account. They're going to be instead like, all right, pay us 5 cents on the dollar for what that's hypothetically worth, and next time hire a proper accountant who's not Mickey Mouse. But you know, it's not as good a punchline if you don't add the "we're all going to jail" thing, which was we you know, it was a long time ago now, but we should have got it was a joke back in. So, because obviously we've been live for like over a year now, but back in Lisbon, just after we went live, we were saying we should get "we're all going to jail" t-shirts, and we chickened out of it because we were like, it's a bit too real.
Yeah, like, wait, that's not fun.
Yeah, and then obviously like all the stuff that's happened since, like Prop 16, all this other stuff, where like, yeah, ultimately we've, you know, by the point where you're talking to lawyers and you're like, is there a chance we can go to jail? They're like completely untested, and this is not legal advice.
Maybe.
You're like, okay, I'm glad I didn't buy that.
I'm glad I buy that shirt to put me over the top.
Well, it's like do you want to be, because like, especially if you go to any kind of crypto event, you always get like somebody takes a photo around you and you're just in the back of the photo wearing a t-shirt. Can you imagine being like in the back of a photo wearing a t-shirt? It's obviously you, and it says "we're all going to jail," and then like one day being in court, they blow it up, you know, one of those big boards they bring into a courtroom to then show the jury. They're just like, can you identify yourself in this picture? And you're like,
fuck.
You're like, shit, I am going to jail.
And that picture ends up in a 75-page Bloomberg article as a cautionary tale.
Yeah, I bet I haven't read the whole thing, but I bet there's some pictures of Do Kwon in that vein.
That article is pretty good. I will put it in the show notes, but there's a good Bloomberg article that kind of went through, I don't know, the state of crypto, maybe a little bit of a background of how we got here and what's there, and if it's real and if it's not real, and where it's going to be real, and what's bullshit and what's not. I actually thought, I mean, it was a bit layman like throughout that whole thing, but it was well researched, and I thought the points in it were largely not awful. So we'll put it in there. I thought it was really interesting. So anyway, you end up in that, but there was a lot of pictures in there that were similar to that.
Yeah, I had a little scan of it, and I thought the bit on trying to explain how the kind of cryptography works for a layman was really interesting. Like I thought it did a good job of explaining why sort of co-located or ergonomically accessible keys is such a big deal, and why you should care about cryptography and why public key is a thing. I thought that bit was really good.
Yeah,
and there was
just explaining the hash. Like that's even difficult
It's
for
impressive.
people to understand, right? Yeah, like
Yeah,
I
exactly.
thought that was pretty decent.
I also thought the bit where it sort of the other thing I thought it did well from the bit that I read was that it did understand that for the majority of the people who actually day-to-day work in the space, we do see the funny side about how we are self-aware about how there are problems in crypto. There are problems in the crypto community, that it is quite funny. Like there is a dark comedy to almost everything here. And like I think it's one of those things that I've not seen really in mainstream coverage before, as an acknowledgement that the people who work in it, we're not fucking rubes. We do have a sense of humor, and we do understand that like we must have some motive. That means that we have to have like everybody who works in any area who's not like a complete psychopath has to have like a release valve to deal with like the strangeness of their reality, and crypto is one of the strangest. So like of course we have a sense of humor, and it's not just like you see like the superficialness of like the WAGMI and all that sort of stuff, and it's like yes, that is a thing, LFG and all that kind of like the stuff that is just day to day like rockets in the chat, like yes, those are all things.
Those are all things.
But there is also like a deeper level of understanding. There is some meta. There is like the culture, especially in the builder scene and like the validator scene, all those sorts of areas. Like the culture is actually like deep and complicated and not homogenous. And I thought it did quite. I felt like the author had at least gone deep enough to like engage with that and was trying to get that across as almost like the sociology of some of the people involved in it, which I think is like it's an interesting like footnote. Like if you were reading about it later in 10 years time, you would read that bit and be like, I think that's almost where some of the most interesting bit of the story is. Like
Null just had to slap himself awake. I think that's accurate though, because like even here, my kids, just talking to them, sometimes they view brands as people. Like it's very common. I don't know if it's very common, but I think at least a little bit in the US, maybe it's not elsewhere, but brands end up becoming people, where it's like you have a news article about Apple, and they treat Apple as a person, not as like a hive collective of a bunch of different thoughts, and there's like a structure to be able to make decisions, right? Just as, Apple did this, right? Where it's like, it's just one type of thing. And I think crypto can sometimes happen that too. Well, crypto is doomed, or crypto feels blah, blah, blah. And it's more than, talking about millions and millions of people. It's not like it's a movement. It's not something that has, there's no hierarchy within it. And some of these projects are going to be great, and some of these are going to repeat past mistakes, and some of these are going to be total shit, and some of these are going to be illegal, and some of these are not going to be illegal, and Frey's going to jail, and Null's falling asleep. Like all those things are going to happen, right?
It's amazing how it's amazing how sentiment changes in crypto though, and like the attitude towards the whole thing.
Yeah, get booted out of Discord channels.
Yeah.
Inside joke.
Yeah, I don't know.
I agree. Like the waves of change move pretty quick in this ecosystem.
Yeah, it's like you can just wake up one day and the whole like attitude of everyone has just changed to something different. It's like super bizarre. Yeah.
I think there's I don't know what you guys have seen, but I feel like there is an increasingly bad vibe in some areas. Like I just from kind of looking around, I've kind of seen a bit more hostility and a bit more kind of like anger and stuff of late. And I think that might be
is this a Cosmos ecosystem comment or a crypto comment?
Cosmos specifically, yeah. I think like the I don't know if it's like the fallout from a couple of weeks of quite heavy drama where there was a lot of it got quite political because it was like anti-Semitism and stuff on the table, and obviously, like, you know, you can't look away from that. So I think that obviously brought a lot of don't ask, don't tell, let's not talk about politics people to blows, I think, in the space maybe. But I don't think it was just the Atom thing. Like, I think I don't know if it's just like we're now long into a bet and it's no signs of slowing down, but it does feel like community sentiment is like the pitchforks are out. That's the expression in English, right? Is the pitchforks are out. That's kind of my general feeling. But this isn't like the Prop 16 where it was like everybody's making money, but those guys are making loads of money. Right. Let's just fucking burn them down almost for the lols, right? Let's just get it done. This feels like
I'm losing money. Someone else is making money.
Yeah, or even just like it. Yeah, the pitchforks are out, like trouble at the mill. You know, there's disturbance in the force. Do you know what I mean? Like I try to.
I think what you're saying, like, is like instead of like there being a industry full of blissful ignorance and happiness, that now like people are, as a community, as a whole community in crypto, like there's a lot of like 90% of crypto at the moment is probably, you know, losing money from the especially people who entered like in the recent bull market, and you know, like people aren't making money, other people are going back to day jobs and all this type of stuff. And then, you know, there might, because, you know, there might just be nothing else to do now except for like turn on each other and that type of stuff, instead of like there being in the bull market people doing better than everyone else and like, let's get that guy. Now it's like, well, no one's doing well and who can we fucking hang shit on? But to be honest, like I didn't even notice it coming, the whole turn in the attitude. Like I knew we were in a bear market, but to be honest, I did, you know, only really say a few things on Twitter, and that's about it. I don't get into depth in reading all of the news on Twitter. I read stuff from people that I'm interested in, and that's about it. And then, you know, as a validator, we sort of live in our own little world where we're looking at new networks and reading stuff and doing research and working on projects and, you know, doing our own little thing in our own little world. And then you look up one day and everyone's just like pissed off and fighting with everybody on Twitter. And you're just like, well, what happened in the last week? So I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but it felt like it kind of snuck up on me as a validator. I don't know about you guys, but yeah.
Yeah, I think a bit. Like I don't really watch Twitter too much either, which is back to our amazing marketing strategy.
Yeah, I need a marketing guy still. If anyone's like good at that shit.
Interested. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this channel, Game of Nodes needs one. I need one. Null needs one. Frey needs one. Could be all the same person.
I need some Oni-esque type marketing. Actually, came across a dude the other day who's like pretty good at graphics. He's like a 3D guy. I've actually asked him to. I asked him to make a graphic for Game of Nodes.
Yeah.
For our background, on like our banners, like a proof of concept on the banners, and I told him I wanted it to be themed, like I wanted to have the throne like in a Game of Thrones-esque type, like scene with the sword throne, but with like computer related, you know, replacements.
Have you put this into DALL-E? Just put it into mini DALL-E. And...
Exactly.
No, I've tried on DALL-E. I mean, that thing can't even come up with the astronaut with a crown. So shit.
Just enter King Nodes sitting on a throne of SSD sticks or NVMe sticks. Is that what it is?
I'm on it.
I'm on it.
I'm talking like a stylish graphic.
Oh, okay.
Not like your fucking meme graphics. But we definitely need, like, you know, some marketing on Game of Nodes. But
it's so bad.
So what do you guys think about? I mean, I think you got mixed feelings about this, but I put out on Twitter this week or last week or whenever it was on the Game of Nodes account about the potential of doing like one-on-one interviews pre-recorded for certain people as like potentially a different channel but related channel to Game of Nodes. Just more so that for a different audience, like we have people on the show here and we talk to them about various things, but it was more about like addressing the like more of the community audience rather than the dev and validator audience that we sort of appeal to at the moment.
I mean,
what did you guys think about that?
I can break out my rate card for that one because that definitely sounds like work.
You can break out your what? Break card?
I'll break out my rate card for that one. That sounds like work.
Rate? Oh, rate card. Right.
Rate card.
Yeah. No, I get it now.
Yeah, I do.
You mean like project owners? Like you want to talk? Well, we do have project owners on the show, right? Or you mean like more like?
I mean, actually, obviously these people would be related to their projects, but more of like a deep dive with actual people and their careers and stuff like that. But, that could also be not.
Sounds like you need to just add questions to the spreadsheet when we have guests on, is what I'm thinking. Because, like, how do you get into crypto and stuff like that? I kind of like classic questions I put in the spreadsheet that then don't get asked if I'm not the person to say, "Oh, it's a warm up. How did you get into crypto?"
Well, the thing is that like this podcast can never get picked up by the algorithm because of all of the shit that we say in here. So it was more like having a separate channel that could actually reach an audience instead of our 10 people.
Does that sound like work?
Yeah, it's
an actual interview. That's an actual interview show. Like you want to do research. The problem is, and be prepared.
I mean, the majority of interviewing is actually pretty straightforward. You'd be surprised how little. Okay, I don't want to be like too discourteous to the people I've interviewed in the past, but like you can get away with an astonishing, verging on callous lack of understanding of your subject. If you can essentially reflect back what the person says and then get them to keep talking. Building a rapport is far more important than actually understanding what the fuck is happening around you. And I base that on like 15 years of doing interviewing, like as part of my job, like for in another environment for which I gather pretty good at it. But
no, I think
the swearing is impossible. Like not swearing, that's the bit where I'm just like, I don't think I can make words without fuck as punctuation. Like
it's a high note in there.
I think it would be really difficult. Like it's really hard to say things without swearing. Like I find it really, really difficult. Like genuinely, it's not like I have Tourette's or anything. It's
gotta be in there. What you're saying?
Maybe I can get a stream deck, and every time the phrase starts talking, I can just start mashing the fucking like bleep button.
Yeah, we need like you know how they used to do it on live radio, is they would have a 3-second delay on the street
so someone can bleep it.
Yeah, they had time to bleep. Yeah, that was how all live broadcasts used to be like that.
You need a producer.
You got a censor. That's a censor. You got a censor in there.
Yeah, exactly. Just because otherwise, I think in the UK there used to be specifically like a spot fine swear words on the air. So
same in the US. Yeah,
and it was like non-trivial, so it was worth having an intern
sitting there.
There we go. Right.
I think if you want to start a second podcast with Null on Null, and you want to run those
late night with Null,
I think you have 100% blessing.
First interview would be funny if I just interviewed myself.
You're like, so
just had like
how
two
the fuck are you
screens of
so
me.
damn handsome?
Fucking interview myself.
I mean, it'd be quite fun to edit.
What's your favorite movie?
Like yourself.
Yeah. What's your favorite movie?
What's your favorite movie? Isn't Heat shit? Yeah, Heat is shit. It's basically what it would be.
Yeah, that's probably decidedly average movie.
Decidedly average. I agree.
Now that you mention it, yeah,
you're amazing.
So I went to Dali Mini, and it doesn't really understand Iron Throne made
It
of
doesn't understand Iron
servers.
Throne.
So it just puts the Iron Throne in a server room.
Oh, the sword throne.
Is that what it did? That's pretty funny.
Yeah,
Well, come
hang
on, then
on.
let's see it.
Well,
Australian bloke.
let me see if I
Iron
can.
Throne in
Let me see
server
if I
room.
can put it in the. Get in the.
It's pretty funny.
Add over. No, okay, right. So, right, okay, hang on.
Just don't end the stream on accident. That's all.
Okay, right. Okay, I'm gonna mute myself and work out how to add this as an overlay
Holy
without
shit.
accidentally ending the
You know,
stream.
this is a podcast, right? Nobody can actually see this.
Okay, well, people on the podcast, unfortunately, are going to miss out on some real genius here.
By Dolly.
But Dali has tried very hard, and I'm going to honor it by showing a couple of the pictures. So I'm going to mute myself, and so I don't end the stream with my own incompetence.
So Adam Baum said, if you're doing that kind of, it'd be nice if they were tech dev related.
Look at the front.
An average community. He's working hard over there. Look, he's got nose pressed to the screen.
Fangled technology work.
Hello.
Sorry, man. What was it?
He was saying, Adam Baum. Let me put it back up. He said, if you're doing it, it'd be nice if they're tech dev depth or than average community member. I think that's kind of what we try to do here. Actually, I think we try to hit a little bit more on the tech / dev structure and.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm going to be asking them what kind of cereal they eat and like,
perfect.
You know,
those are the answers we need.
How they manage their sleep schedule. What inspired you to appreciate that kind of cereal?
Did we get it figured out? Do we have an image?
You could do like Universe Dal. What inspired you to rug pull the community?
What inspired?
Holy shit, man! What are you trying to do?
Hey, there we go.
Hey,
oh,
there's
fuck!
a picture
That was wholly unnecessary.
That's a that's.
Why does it have a tick in it?
It's trying its best now. Here's another one.
It.
That's sort of.
What the fuck is that?
This one's kind of Geiger-like.
That is Geiger-like, yeah.
It is Geiger-like.
It's pretty cool.
I've been to Geiger's house / museum. It's a good.
Have you? I haven't been
good.
So for future reference, man, you just click on the little present button down there, and click on share a screen, and then click on Brave tabs, and then just add that shit, and then it'll present to the screen. You're muted. You're muted.
Fucking hell.
I got 4 different browsers open on 2 monitors. It's very easy to screw up. And I'll just be like, just docs the spreadsheet.
Have a look at my porn.
Well, it's mainly the spreadsheet. You can see who's typing or whatever, and it would, I guess, docs usurper. But
easily enough. Whatever you want.
Yeah, I guess it's very fine. I'm wondering if you can get Dali. Hang on, I think Dali is not smart enough to know what. I've got another idea.
What are you trying?
What's the address for Dali?
Oh my god, are we doing a podcast of real-time Dalis of?
Oh, there
it is in a server room.
Yeah, so I should say Dali Mini because I'm too cheap to pay for credits for Dali.
How do you? What's the address? How do you log into it?
You come up with a better AI generated server. What was it you were trying to get now? The Iron Throne made of server.
Iron Throne made of NVMe
that's
sticks.
That's the fucking challenge.
Yeah.
What's the address for it? Put the address in the private chat.
Rayon is the name of the service. I think that hosts the Dali Mini thing, which is not as cool as the if you buy credits like the full fucking Dali thing, it's actually really impressive.
Yeah, that one.
What's the address?
The Dali Mini is. The Dali Mini is kind of finger painting by
Dali Mini runs on a Raspberry Pi.
I've got credits in. God damn it! I'm going to start muting you people. Listen to me right now. I've got credits on Dali. Dude. So what's the address? I don't remember it.
How do you have credits if you don't know the address?
I don't know. I just don't remember.
Dali.com.
Google.com. Have you heard of it?
/ not this address.php.
How do I find things on the interwebs? Go to Yahoo and then go down the actual hierarchy.
Query equals string.
The fuck? How do I find things on the internet?
Oh dear. I used a variant of that really shit old joke the other day, and it to somebody much younger, and it just confused them.
Wait, which joke I missed?
Well,
There's
you
a
know,
bunch
like
thrown in there.
when this might be a very particular thing for my age group, but was just like it was like for a period of time, maybe in the mid to late 2000s, there was like putting somebody down for being a bit of a grandpa,
Yeah.
where you would just be like www.fuckoff.com/do1. Just like very, 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 very dry. It was just like people were like, to.
And
But it was like you just make like a fake, just the whole insult is just a fake web address.
And there used to be that is that site still around, that let me Google that for you site? Remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, where it brings up the browser and the mouse moves over. It's like, let me type it in. I know that is a fingertip kiss.
I used that when I was on a project the other year, and the person and the thing is, it only works right
if they
knows
actually never
what
seen
it
that.
is,
I know,
and
right?
therefore will click on it, not taking
Just
themselves
watch it
too
type.
seriously. And this person did not know it, had never heard of it before, and it was they had asked me something like kind of insultingly simple, and then they went and did that, and then they got really insulted. And I was like stakeholder management. That's how we do it.
That joke has worked for like 20 years. When it still works, that's pretty. Now for folks on we're not watching. We're not watching Dolly. Never not.
No,
I literally just did the thing that the Frey was afraid of. I like shared the wrong thing. What do you suppose this this section here is for?
That's an arrow pointing up through you.
I've got a kind of half okay one.
What did you write? What was your search string on this one? What was your?
It was Iron Throne made of computer parts dark theme.
Well, it's pretty dark.
I don't really know how to use this.
Yeah.
I thought you just typed things.
A Game of Nodes Iron Throne in front of it.
Game of
yeah. So
Game of Nodes.
Yeah. Game of Nodes, Game of Thrones, because that's the thing. That's the actual real thing. We're not a real thing. This is
Dolly doesn't give a shit about this podcast.
This is not real.
We haven't hit popular culture yet.
It's not in there.
Okay, so try Iron Throne made of rack servers.
What the fuck is this one?
What is that? That looks like graphics cards or something. It's not bad.
Why do they put dildos in the middle of the seat every time?
Because it's Geiger. Geiger is behind Dali. Dali is Geiger. Partial Match said, I'm surprised none of you have downloaded Stable Diffusion and played with that.
That's free, right? I think that's a free.
Yeah, I mean, it's the basis of these models, right?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I mean, really should, but also have been working. This podcast is my time off for the week. This is my me time. I spend the whole of it with these two, and sometimes Schultzy when he shows up. That's
it's worth it, right? Watching Null cycle through a website.
Yeah, I was trying to find all these random things, but anyway,
this shit's getting scary. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's got a ways to go, but there is a tremendous amount of coolness in that piece. It's not going to replace artists or anything, but there's a lot of cool stuff there.
Yeah, it's kind of astonishing, isn't it? Really. I mean, all of this stuff is really. I mean, like, I'm not going to be too vague about things, but computers and it's pretty neat what you can do with a computer now, isn't it?
I mean, all those are based off of images that already exist, so there's not really creativity in there, right? It's really a bit of mashup of different types of things, but once it starts understanding and kind of relating specific images to specific feelings, and you start getting that piece going into it and kind of breaking it down, and like if you put you pick dark theme, like dark theme doesn't mean anything, right? But I guess it kind of figured out dark theme means a pull up your ass. I guess is what it means in this situation.
Like when I started typing in dark themes and stuff, it went from this bright and sunny crap to misty fucking shit with red lava floor and whatever.
Right.
So,
but if you're sad or something, or something similar, I wonder how if it starts to put images together into sad, right? Or how the hell would it know? I don't know.
Yeah. In my current mood,
right.
Make a scene in my current mood, and it's just
It checks the Juno price and then.
But the thing is though, what is art? I mean, like, as in art for a human artist is also just reacting to inputs, isn't it? And mashing together a bunch of
With their own style, right? Yeah, like the way that they see those things, right? I agree. I'm with you.
I don't think the computer is that different.
Art's a reflection of like feelings, right?
And experiences, right? Like what they've seen and what they picked up in the past and what drew them in and their own take on it. And then I assume there's feeling, like you said, there's feelings in that too. I don't think a computer can replicate that, but can it look at a billion images around others who have said this is what sad means and turn that into something that they could say, we think this is in the theme of sad? I don't know. Seems possible.
I just tend to think that art is just a communications medium with a very high bandwidth. So like you look at that, like the toilet, the mutt toilet, where it's just a toilet with the word mutt on it. Can't remember who did it. Sorry to surrealist artists. You know, the famous piece of art where it's a urinal and it says mutt on it, right? It's like classic piece of art. Classic. But I think about how much information is contained within, like, if you looked at that, you're like, this is like a whole discourse on art and surrealism and like the challenging nature of what's being done here and what is art. And it's contained in this one moment that you take it in like that. Like the bandwidth of that information download, you just had that communication that's been beamed into your head. It's crazy. That's kind of what I think art is, right? So the question is, like, is how the viewer perceives the art more important, or like isn't like what is it necessary that the artist is trying to communicate something, or is it enough that the viewer takes sensory input from that communication and then take something from it themselves, right? Because otherwise, if it has to have a human going like, I have an artistic vision, here's what I'm trying to communicate, even if they don't know what they're trying to communicate, they make a piece of art to communicate and they want other people to see it. That's the primary thing artists want to do, right? They hang it on a wall, people go, interesting, I take something from that. Does it, for those people, like the artist could be dead, right? Or an unknown artist, another thing, right?
Yeah.
Especially in the unknown artist case, no different from a computer. Does it matter? Like you look at something and you're like, that's challenging and provocative. And then someone tells you, oh, a computer made it. Are you going to be like, that is suddenly no longer challenging and provocative and my reaction to it was completely invalid? You're probably going to go, interesting. That is perhaps even more provocative. Duchamp's Fountain. You see,
that's
there
it.
You go.
Marcel Duchamp. I just looked it up too. Yeah.
See,
well done, Partial Match.
Just because, thank you, Partial Match. Just because I don't understand, I'm not cultured enough to know the.
I don't think I've seen this piece before. Yeah. I'm not missing much.
Urinal, you know.
I'm not missing much,
but urinal.
It is a urinal outside, but yeah.
Don't think I've seen this piece before.
It's a piece. It is a piece. No, I agree with you. I think the point is right, and it'd be interesting to see kind of how this thing learns. I'm wondering if they actually take a look and see. I'm wondering if like in Null's, like, pictures of Iron Thrones with poles up the ass, and like his thing, if they actually take a look and see like what was copied or what was used and like use that as an input to go forward, and like, is there any learning involved in that type of thing? Would be interesting too.
We've already caused controversy in the comments. We've already got Adam Bomb saying that Duchamp's Fountain is not art. So
probably not. I mean, what is art? I mean,
validated podcast. What is art?
We're not answering what is art today. I know art is something that you can't right click and save as. That's an NFT joke.
I hear that all art you have to be able to right click and save as. That's very important.
Is that right? Or is it's immutable?
Scott McCloud has a good definition for art. It's anything that a human does that doesn't directly involve survival or fucking. He doesn't phrase it like that. He's a very, very mild-mannered man. But it's in the. I'm sure I must have mentioned this on the show before. There's a great passage in Understanding Comics where he basically draws a panel where there's like this caveman trying to seduce a partner, and then like a saber-toothed tiger comes along, and like the potential mate like hops up a tree, and he's sort of saying everything to this point, none of this is art, obviously. And then he's got this caveman running away from this saber-toothed tiger. And then they get to the edge of this cliff, and he like basically jumps up to like this tree and catches it. He's like monkey barring off it. And the tiger just shoots past him like Tom and Jerry style, Roadrunner style, and like shoots past us like on thin air. And the final panel is like the tiger looks over its head, over its shoulder, like, you know, sort of again Looney Tunes style, as it's about to obviously fall into this canyon. And the caveman is like hanging by one hand and goes like, and then Scott McCloud like draws an arrow and says like, art. He's like, who knows? Maybe this is how comedy started.
Just mutes himself.
I think
I've said my thing.
said my thing.
Oh, okay. Adam Bomb is like he's not a fan of the Deschamps fountain.
Not a fan.
How do I turn the volume off on bloody Discord?
That's you beeping.
It's you
Like
being
I don't hear that shit enough.
Discord.
It's gotta come on this podcast.
It's got to go into my eyes constantly. I can never have it off.
Make it stop.
Someone's just discovered that I'm a fellow Aussie and started messaging me.
So
Where do you
They
live?
want to go kangaroo hunting or play two up or something.
So speaking of art, right? 2 Up.
You're
yes.
both right.
If I think when the Game of Nerds crew finally meet face to face, 2 Up is just what we're going to do, isn't it?
I was actually
I'll
looking
bring
at
the
eBay. I'll bring the stick.
Two. We just progressively gamble our entire company away via the medium of 2 Up,
2 Up.
just like in
Maybe we could-
Waking Fright.
Maybe we should do it like a Web3 version. Just bet bad kids NFTs.
God. Oh my god! Wait!
2
What
ups.
if 2 Up? But if you lose, your bad kid gets burnt. Wait, hang on. Wait,
Perfect.
okay, hold up. I was going to bring
Perfect.
up No Pixels, right? Because it seemed like a good segue from art to No Pixels. But what if here's a provocative piece of art for you? What if we make a coin flip game where, in order to play, you have to put your NFT into it.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the reward is here. Come back to me on that one in a minute. But if you lose, I know that it burns your bad kid.
It burns a bad kid.
But what would be the win? What would you win? I guess you probably have some kind of a prize pool, right?
There is no win. You just
It's
it's
only
just a
lose.
gamble as to whether or not your NFT gets burnt.
It's just Russian roulette. It's
That's
literally
right.
Russian roulette.
Yeah.
It's validator
I mean, you can
operations
be-
in a nutshell. Exactly.
I survived whatever this game's called with my,
Yeah, to be fair, maybe,
$70,000 board ape.
yeah, maybe there's a kind of Squid Game-esque element to it where you know what it is. If you survive, it gives you a new NFT that says you played the game and you survived.
Oh, we could do a Stargaze badge.
yeah.
Maybe that's it. Maybe we do one of those badges
You-
from Larry
you-
around surviving
Okay.
2 Up.
So okay.
Hang
right.
on. No.
Hold
Hang
up.
on. Hang
We
on.
use
No.
noise. We use the noise oracle
Uh-huh.
for our randomness.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
So it gives you a you
This is good, we're
survived
figuring it
the
out.
game NFT, but with an inlay of the NFT that you survived it with. So, like, if you put up your $10 million NFT and you survived it, people can be like, "Holy shit, man, you're fucking insane."
And then you have to get that tattooed.
Sorry,
That's
you can
fucking
talk
cool.
now, the friend.
That's actually a really good. I hate to say this now, but it's actually quite a good idea.
That is a good idea. Then you
I'm
gotta
an
get
ideas man.
then you gotta get whatever you end up with, you gotta have tattooed on your leg or something.
I kind of like the fucking shit, but because even if 1 or 2 people played it and then came out like I gambled my really rare bad kid and I got away with it, I'm a legend. You would be like, fair enough, you are a legend. You are an absolute legend.
What do you think we'd call it? Like NFT roulette? No,
it's 2
Russian
Up based,
NFT.
though, right?
Russian. I don't know.
Russian
DGen
NFT.
We've still got the DGen NFT domain.
We do.
To be fair, maybe this is digNFT.zone.
This
to,
is
to
this
call back
might,
to episode
yeah,
3.
this might this might
Yeah,
qualify for that
what's the
domain.
most degen thing you can do is play the deer hunter with your bad kid.
You don't
Oh,
gain anything. You can only lose. I love it.
Yeah, I can't remember who somebody I know like with their mother-in-law and and like their partner had to go out to do something or had to go into work, or so there was something came up and they had to leave, and then the mother-in-law was just like, what should we do? I'll just put on the film, and they put on The Deer Hunter. Like, it was just like on a Saturday afternoon or something. This person never seen it before. They were just like, we just sat, maybe sit through the whole thing just unexpectedly. Imagine watching The Deer Hunter, going cold, don't know what it is, just kind of awkwardly with your mother-in-law.
Have you seen this movie?
What movie?
No.
The Deer Hunter.
The one we've been talking about for the last 20 minutes.
No, didn't you tell me not to watch it the other day?
Oh, fucking, I knew it. We were talking about it.
I was going to watch it, and the Frey was like, it is the most fucking boring thing you'll ever watch.
Oh,
I was like, well, I won't watch it then. Saved me 3 hours.
Oh, my goodness. Once again, speechless.
It's a very dark film.
I think you said something along the lines of like, you'll never get the 3 hours back and you'll want to kill yourself at the end of it. And I was like, well,
I think you said you want to kill yourself at the end of it.
That's true. And yet, I mean, it's kind of required. It's required watching, right? It's like
you got to watch it once. I don't think I'll ever watch it again. But
I watched it a few times, but like a few times is enough. It's enough. Like it's a fucking ringer.
Like, you have to be in the right mood to watch those kinds of old movies too, though. So you need to be like at least halfway into a bottle of good whiskey and have your phone turned off.
It's got to be late. It's got to be late.
Yeah, middle of the night type shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of those old films as well, they are almost all of them have pacing problems, and quite a lot of them are about like a half an hour too long. That's like the classic.
Yeah.
Classic problem with films.
And
there was a weird point in the 90s where they just started making like from like about, I don't know, like 1988 to like, there was a period of time where it felt like people were just making hour and a half long films, right? That's what I'm saying. And it was like, it was after the bit where everybody was like going to a double feature and wanted to be entertained, that at some point they started making hour and a half long films. Like, think about it. So like, I'm pretty sure like Wayne's World and shit like that was all like hour and a half. Escape from New York's an hour and a half.
Yeah.
A lot of that films in that period, they're quite snappy. And there's some exceptions like Point Break. Heat is fucking long. Fair game, no. But now they're like always 200 minutes, 130 minimum and stuff like that. 2 hours 10. You better have a lot to say if you're going to keep me in the cinema for 2 hours 10.
3 hours 3 minutes for this movie is a bit long. Yeah, I would agree.
Wait a minute, Rama, are you saying that Gelato are doing the DGen NFT roulette?
Jesus, that's awful. Did we just come up with something Gelato's doing?
Jeez.
This
Time to cancel the podcast.
It's done. We're not.
That's it. Next week, we're out. Good ideas. We're officially out.
Fuck this. We're done.
Also, Badger Bite says, Null, you look, I'm guessing, so tired.
Yeah. He doesn't get good sleep in Shelley.
Yeah. It's kind of just my look.
It's the validator look, isn't it?
This is like genetic to validators. Yeah.
Frey, before we were joining, I was trying to come up with a name for the Null RV. Like, he hasn't named it, which is really weird. Like, it's his house on wheels. You should name it, right? You have to give it a name.
Yeah, Tombstone. I can't come up with a good name.
I said Shelley, but that wasn't really good. Like maybe,
like maybe something to do with bears, like
with bears.
Winnie. Cool.
You
Winnie.
don't have bears.
Why bears?
No, but we're suffering a bear.
You only have
the bear market.
Oh, okay.
Jeez, that's deep.
It's bed.
I was just thinking about kind of like the ecology of Australia there.
Yeah. Badger.
And also like Winnie is like a Canadian bear as well. So like doubly not relevant to your situation.
Oh, here we go. So Badger Bite did clarify. He said I looked ass tired. Thanks, man.
Yeah, it's true. Fair enough.
Okay, yeah.
Or maybe that was a name he wanted to give your RV.
Ass tired.
Speaking of tired, like, so two things happened in the last couple of days that have increased my tiredness, aside from the fact that, I've been inhaling brick dust. For the first time in a little while, an EC2 instance must have got recycled or something, like the box, and then crash looped itself, which I've not seen that happen in a year or two. So that was really fun.
What do you mean it crashed itself?
So it became unreachable basically. And then when that happens, they try and reboot themselves, and it just crash looped. So I had to like fully bounce and recycle the.
Did
box.
you have to do a terminate and restart, or did AWS actually automatically realize?
Well,
that
their
the sync's not
automatic
starting?
Reaper, I guess, tried to do it for me, and it. But yeah, no. If anybody is wondering why the Juno Faucet was down for an hour and a half in the wee hours of the morning, and it's I woke up and Max Juno had sent me a message and was like.
I like that you put all these in here for me to fuck with.
Recognize that every time you do that, it's a fucking nightmare on the editing side. So just cool your fucking jets, dude. Every one takes me like 5 minutes. Just every time you do that, it takes me 5 minutes. It's 5 more minutes of my life. Just fucking slow down, all right?
I love the way, like Noel's like, should we do another podcast? Yourself is
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I'm already
Edit your own shit.
I'm dying from having to edit this one already. Please stop hitting the sound effect
Just
button.
fucking stop hitting that shit. 75 tracks and Audacity or whatever it is. Just cool your jets.
Oh, does it make a separate track every time you do that?
It does.
Oh,
Yeah.
So then you have to like find where to put it.
Yeah, and like the StreamYard thing is like it doesn't line them up, so it's just like, oh yeah, it's at like 42 minutes and 8 seconds. Well, fuck, there's a big 8 seconds is pretty like within a second it's pretty long. So like trying to line up voices and shit and everything else, yeah, it's a whole.
Oh, it doesn't like zero pad it.
It doesn't. It just gives you like a time, and the time is close. But I do some editing, so the times change. It's like a whole thing. This is how much care I put into this podcast. For our, we should really market this.
We should.
Come back to,
I think we're concluding increasingly.
Let me come back to this. We should probably market this.
So although it's worth saying, we are starting to we seem to kind of do a really good job for a few episodes of like really like hammering the guests, and then we get a bit tired and we knock it off for a few weeks. And
this
just
is more
chat
fun
shit.
though. I have more fun with this.
We've got a bit. I can't wait for the. Can we talk about the doozy one? We got a really good one coming up on Mesh, which is going to be really cool. I'm super excited.
It's like hard to organize guests, right? Especially if you want to have multiple, and then like you really have to like be. If you're not fully into it too, it's hard to have a guest. Like if you know what I mean.
Are you organizing guests?
Getting more than
I
one
thought
at
the
once.
organizing guest was on the other side of the screen. Are you organizing?
I don't know who's organizing.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
I've organized guests in the past. Yes.
Okay. Just make...
I don't organize all of them. Yeah.
I can't point.
Yeah,
difficult. Who's organizing
the mesh one will be good.
Who's organizing the mesh one? It's you, right? You server.
I'll do it, yeah.
No. I think Frey is getting 2 guests. I'm getting 1 guest. I think is what we're trying to do.
I already sorted. I'm just.
Are you sorted?
Yeah.
Well,
you want me to get a guest too? I think my mum's free that weekend.
What does your mum know about mesh security?
Will she be staying in Ass Tired, or are you dial her in from home?
Put her in a cot in the annex.
In the annex of Ass Tired.
Okay, so I lost a box, and that was kind of freaky. So I was just like, oh, okay, got to completely rethink. Like how we would alert for that situation is also really strange, because like the error. Yeah. Also, it's a testnet box, so we don't have every screaming PagerDuty error set up for it either. It's like
it's not validated, right? It's just an RPC node, so you're just hitting like the RPC endpoint as a trigger on that. There's not much else, right?
Yeah.
Than, like basic.
Well, so we do some stuff via public RPCs, but then what's been happening recently is there've been quite a few problems with public RPCs. So some people have been rate limiting or turning them off with stuff like that, and that is a little bit of I think basically like I'm kind of at the point where for extra redundancy, are we going to run our own RPCs just for our own monitoring? Mm-hmm. That's now what I'm kind of thinking. You might have noticed my general reaction to something is to kind of do something until I'm like happy and I can sleep at night. And then when something bad goes wrong, I like then massively overreact.
Yeah.
And so I'm now like, right, do we need to rig up our own private network of RPCs?
Right.
load balanced around the globe.
Right.
That's kind of where and I'm sure in like 2 days
for a testnet faucet.
To serve your fucking like
we need to spend $8,000
tender
a
duty
month
requests
to serve
on this
Juno
testnet faucet. People are just spamming the shit out of.
But we also had we had a weird. I had like a full blown phone going off PagerDuty alert on over on Aptos, and I sent Usurper a message being like,
"Is it me?" That's always a bad sign.
Yeah, I was
just me
because it seemed weird to get like one ping and then nothing. Because it then degraded to a 0 incident almost immediately. And I was like, so I sent Usurper a note being like, I think something weird's happened with peering, like a node's gone down or something adjacent, because that, you know, that's how consensus can work. And we've dropped a proposal, and Usurper just texted back, I think your node was down, and that's not why you dropped the proposal.
Like I see a dip in the metrics, and that's you.
Yeah. Oh, how many of your nines did you lose?
Good pep talk. Good pep talk.
We're losing some nines.
We're losing
some nines.
That would make a good T-shirt. Getting some Z's, losing some nines.
Getting some Z's, losing some nines.
That would be actually like a good, Cosmoverse shirt. It's like Cosmoverse 2023, dropping nines.
Dropping nines.
You know, because you're there on the piss, right?
That would nine. That is just Juno first year, man. Dropping 9. Getting cyber attack, dropping 9.
Dropping 9s.
Yeah. You should actually make that shit.
Yeah, Game of Nodes merch. Game of Nodes dropping 9s.
Dropping 9s.
2021.
Yeah, actually, yeah, Game of Nodes official operator dropping 9s.
You need like the Gene Wilder meme where it's just like, I heard you dropped a juice. I dropped a 9.
Dropped a 9. Yeah, last night dropped a 9. Dropped a couple 9s last night.
Or you could have like the inverse shirt to that and like stacking 9s for the good validators. Yeah, or the good networks stacking 9s.
Oh man,
I was just trying to look up the no pixel. No pixels.
The which one?
The no pixels. You know it's in the notes. Usurper. Fucking read them.
I mean, Null is right. It's nopixels.io.
Is it nopixels.io?
Partial Match was also asking about the uni thing. Yeah, we have some fucking jerk off really aggressively auto compounding on uni again. And because we tell all the validators to not auto compound or compound, because it's just much easier to manage, everybody only has like 9,000 stake or something like that. So it's really easy for one mad person to like completely unbalance the set. And so, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we're just going to do an upgrade prop on uni now, where I just nuke this wallet.
We can also just
I've sent them some messages with a memo field that goes, dude, like honestly, can you stop running a compound script? Like I feel like I've warned them. I've tweeted.
You called them out on Twitter.
I called them out on Twitter. I've doxed their wallet, and I've also privately sent them a note in the memo field. And I'm kind of at this point like, maybe we just remove them from the network.
Hey, I wonder if they actually have like the requisite wallet on the Juno mainnet, because they're obviously a airdrop wallet, right? I wonder if they're still a holder.
I noted that,
and also they're doing some degenerate shit with their seed phrase to be able to do that compounding. Oh no, they're actually manual compounding because it's only happening sporadically.
Wait, they're manual compounding on uni. Why?
Yeah, like once a day. I don't know.
6 hours ago, 14, 15 hours ago, a day ago. Yeah, I think it is manual. Actually, you're right. That's fucking crazy.
Seems like
I'm just even more baffled than I was before, because you know they started off with. I looked in the Genesis file. They started off with a non-trivial amount of Juno, like 11,000.
Why were they in the Genesis? For uni, they were in a Genesis.
The Genesis is the mainnet Genesis.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay.
Genesis for Uni is a pretty heavily modified version of the original
I
Juno
didn't know that.
Genesis.
I gotcha. So this person may or may not know that this is not worth anything.
I don't know. Like, who doesn't know the Uni is not real?
I don't know.
I mean, the clue is that the network goes down every once in a while and you lose all your money. Like, this person has already lost all their money. Their testnet Juno when Uni 4 wrapped 3, whichever the last one was. Uni 3 wrapped up,
Right.
and we brought up a new network, and they immediately just started recompounding again. Given that their compounding was also the final nail in the coffin for Uni 3, because their wallet had, without any of us noticing, had gotten so big that they were just swaying who was number one in the set, and the top validator.
It was 98% of the fucking stake.
Yeah, they had so much voting power that the
pretty
network was barely able to make blocks. Like, that was
Right.
the problem. And Todd's
it.
like, DM me the address. Todd, I tweeted the address, so you can go on my Twitter.
Todd, I think this is it. I'm pretty sure.
So they have a mainnet address, and they delegate 6 Juno to me. Thank you.
I hate your shit on Uni 5.
Nels like, I'm going to go back and delete my tweet. You are a great, thank you, sir. You are a great member of the community with amazing validators.
Thank you. You've got very good taste in validators.
So it's you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
is this you?
I could be. Yeah.
It was an inside job.
So to counteract the compounder, I've aggressively started compounding.
That might be the only solution here, right?
You're fighting fire with fire, is what you're saying.
So I'm trying to out compound them, but I only delegate, like, it picks from the random bottom 3. So all people who newly enter the network get stake as well. So just random picks 1, 3 and stakes to them every 5 minutes, and then every time it restakes, it just picks one from the bottom 3. So yeah, thanks Mercury for the script, but I'm hoping that I can just, in a couple of weeks, just out delegate them. So if anyone's got spare tokens and they want to help us, like, restore the sanctity of Uni 5, just throw them into my wallet so I can out delegate this guy.
And this is beautiful. And this is active, right? Because I think they were delegated with somebody else. It was dispersed, right, or somebody, and then I asked
this commission up his commission to 100%,
and then they moved it.
Yeah, they got the 80. He got the 80%, and then they moved it. Yeah.
So clearly they're watching.
I think there is an element here where we might be getting trolled.
I think so.
It's
whoever this is, these coins are worth nothing.
It's just so we're clear. To be Schultzy or somebody.
No value here.
It's someone we know.
Just fucking with
it's just somebody who's seen the bags under our eyes and just gone like, I think I know what would be funny. I think I know what these lads need.
I know.
I think I can increase the size of them bags.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Not the kind of bags that we need, but the kind of bags under their eyes.
They're not the bags we need, but they're the bags we got.
That a slightly more cryptic t-shirt than the Dropping Nines t-shirt, but
it's a good t-shirt.
I really want that t-shirt now. I would wear that t-shirt. Yeah, or maybe like we're getting too into merch here. Let's not worry about the merch.
The Dropping Nines t-shirt. You're not interested in the Stacking Nines?
Stacking or dropping?
I'm not stacking nines there. I don't think it's possible to stack nines.
It's kind of like a deer hunter thing, right? It's only down from here. You start at 100. It's only down.
You start at 100 and you start dropping. Right. You never stack.
You never stack.
That's how statistics work.
It's a deer
hunter. Yeah, right? But it depends on if you're operating in a window or infinity.
Good point. I guess as somebody who is, always worried about their own mortality, I'm always thinking about the line decreasing to 0. So
yeah, you're only concerned with your long-term 9.
Yeah.
What's
the line from Fight Club? On a long enough time scale, all of our 9s decrease to 0.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do a slightly more cryptic shirt and actually just have like a meme of a guy with like massive bag. We'll just take a picture of me, and then like have Cosmos Validator dropping 9s, And it could mean that, like, we're shit validators, or it could just mean that we're like losing our lifespan because of validating. We're dropping 9s on our lifespan.
I would say it's a thin line. It's a thin line.
It's a thin line
between all those things. So on validator stuff, we kind of covered a little bit of the Chihuahua and the Jackal shenanigans, which has really been the last couple of days. Has there been anything really notable the rest of this week? I just feel like there's been loads of
defund testnets, like collecting Gentex in the next day or two.
Yeah, very exciting. So yeah,
that's good.
Defund, good project. Nice guys.
Yeah,
nice guys.
It's a incentivized testnet for validators and users. So expect there to be 3,000 validators smashing the shit out of a what do they call those things? Faucet. Yeah, the Jackal launch, which was today-ish, or still ongoing.
Yep,
ongoing.
Yeah. I'm really interested in the etymology of faucet because it's just not a word here, but it must be an old English word. Yeah, tap. It's a tap.
Oh, tap.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know what it is, but like we just call it tap.
Oh yeah, well, it is faucet from the day.
Is it? That is the olden term.
Yeah.
The old
I'm surprised that you guys haven't maintained it. You seem to be into your old words.
Breathing.
It's kind of it's this and that, isn't it?
I think it might be more of a Yankee origin. The faucet.
Yeah, I think it's an American thing. It feels like an Americanism.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah.
The Jackal launch has been delayed until tomorrow.
Yeah. The relaunch to be.
We launched and things were running, and now we want to relaunch.
Yeah.
Launched, things were running. Now we need to relaunch with a new Genesis. Okay.
Hey, look, at least before the IBC connections went up, no harm, no foul. That's my policy.
Yeah, it's not a good look, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's not like you can still have transactions of value before IBC.
Sure.
You might do OTC to someone and then have that reversed by a new.
It was pretty quick after launch, though. But yeah.
Yeah, I guess
I agree.
Oh, there's been some. I noticed there was also some stuff on Juno's Commonwealth, which like there is a little element where, especially it's like there's an element where I feel like Osmo in particular and Juno are the two places where, other than maybe the hub, the spiciest Commonwealth or GovProps kind of originate from those three chains.
So we are like Juno is one of the biggest Commonwealths.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
but the two ones that have come up in the last few days are the slash based on
voting power / BP based on like votes,
and then the Nakamoto one, which I don't know if Rama's still in the chat, but I think uses Rama's data, right?
It does. Yeah, he made that spreadsheet.
So very briefly, the Nakamoto one is a proposal to look into a mechanism that would mean that stakers staking to validators lower down in the set would get a increased return on their stake. Yeah. So let's say the index starts at 1 and then progresses all the way down to validator 150, where you would get 1.1.
Is that what that is? Is that a return on staking? Like it's a mint structure that's changing?
It changes the distribution of the mint.
Huh.
Yeah.
Versus controlling so that's the opposite of trying to control the maximum amount of validator stake. So you're
so basically, like if you will get more APR if you take a higher risk to go to lower validators, I guess. Not unexpectedly, the top validators are not for it.
I love that the Game of Nodes crews were still on the case of the tap versus faucet structure.
Wow. So basically, in the chat, for those listening on the podcast, Soy Studio has said tap is older than faucet. Faucet is French from 1400s, and tap is German from the 1000s.
There you go.
So
what bullshit? That's bullshit though. They didn't have a tap in the 1000s. Nope, there's no running water in the 1000s. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's just a
what
that's
do you
just
think
a
of water
stream.
buses? Usurper, what do you think of water buses? People have had wooden taps. Like,
And since when?
They had to put them into kegs, man.
have you never tapped an ale barrel? Like, it's you put in the bung and then you have a pressure.
Okay. All right. That's
a
different.
pressure valve.
Different use of it
twist.
versus like running water that's coming from a stream or something else.
Oh,
I'm opening
And also,
a tap.
correction, Soy2 says that it was his spreadsheet, not Rama's.
And there you go.
There you go.
Just
So
got all the OGs in the chat. This is the thing, like
Since beer. Yeah.
the real balance of power in the cosmos, at least in
Todd
terms
is right.
of shit posting, is
I mean,
centered.
This kind of seems like we
Yeah.
should just put Soy2 and Rama in a cage fight.
It's random.
It's the only way to sort that out.
Getting coins from the Partial Matt says getting coins from the tap would sound weird.
There was like a weird function in the Ruby programming language called tap as well, which used to confuse me. I think it was basically like an applicative functor. Or was it like a map?
What?
Somebody with better CS theory will correct me on this, but it was like, from memory, it was like, you know, when you do a map over a set of things, let's say you have an array, and you do a map and you do one thing to each thing in the array. It was like that, but you could also inject essentially like a kind of additional context to the thing that you were then operating on, and that was called tap, which I think is basically the definition of an applicative functor, but it's late and I would need to double check my category theory on that one. But yeah, that's the only other fact I got on taps, lads, is that there was a quite non-standard function that did something vaguely useful in the Ruby standard library.
Wow.
So are you gonna go through this? Holy shit, this is a long proposal. The slashing of the voting power, the gist of it.
Yeah. So the Nakamoto coefficient one, to end on that one, I think originally the discussion around this had been to put in a anti-handler. So if somebody was already over 5%, it would just not let you stake to them, which I think is a relatively elegant solution, is just go, okay, no, you can't stake to that validator. They've got too much voting power already. But yeah, so anyway, the discussion's moved on. This is now where it's at. So I don't know. Let us know what you think of that in the chat. Like, I don't think there's much more to say about it because it is relatively straightforward. But I think it's an interesting question.
Well, I think the interesting thing is that top validators think that they're getting punished. It's not punishing anyone. It's trying to bloody distribute the stake. You're going to feel punished, but that's not the point of it. The point is to distribute the stake more evenly.
Yeah, I think the point is you can't. The reason I like the anti-handler solution is you should just stop accruing additional stake to the people at the top immediately, and just basically mean that those transactions get dropped from the mempool. That's what. Well, they don't even hit the mempool; they get filtered by the anti-handler. That's I can still, but it's controversial, obviously, because there's lots of the people.
Hey, can we filter transactions by an address
in the anti-handler? Yes.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Well,
oh, hang on. We can just do that in uni, can't we?
Yeah.
But what is a comfortable Nakamoto number? Is that 8?
7.
Is it 10?
1.
It's your classic 7, isn't it? Really,
7 or 8, right? So that means it's 4%. Like that should be. So basically, that
7 was decidedly average, wasn't it?
I literally just said 7. I don't know what you're talking about.
How many validators? What's the Nakamoto coefficient for?
Which is how many validators make up?
How many validators should make up 33%? 33 and a third. Like that should be.
It should be 33, shouldn't it?
Well, that's everybody at 1%, which I think is pretty unrealistic.
But is actually how decentralization would look.
Is it though? That's
yes.
Is decentralization everybody at 1?
Yes.
I don't think that's right though.
It's an even val set, yes.
But that doesn't necessarily. But that doesn't really properly give incentives and everything else that would be out there, right? Like that doesn't.
Well, so it's it's like so ideally, right? You'd want it to be. You could have it be above 1, but it's kind of back to the T-grade stuff we were talking about back in the day, where you want to put a curve on it so that you can go above 1, but it's a diminishing return on additional stake above one, so that validators are like not going to get hugely out of whack as long as voting power is related to that. But then you just have to make sure that 1% is economically viable, right? That's the problem. And that's the problem at the moment, which is why people want more than that.
So I'm looking at like chains that have been around longer. So Solana, I always go back to Solana Beach because it's a good understanding of like chains that have been slightly longer, is a little bit more TVL and everything else. So their Nakamoto is 30. Their highest validator has 2.67, which is Coinbase, which, Coinbase is going to Coinbase. And then the lowest on that